We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Board of County Commissioners work session. It is February 9th, 2026. Today on our agenda, our first presentation, in fact, our only presentation, is from our District Attorney, Mike Kagi. So it's all yours.
All right. Good morning, Commissioners, and thank you for the opportunity. I'm not here today to ask for anything at all, so we can all relax. I just want to share some information about the office, both where we've been in years past, a little bit on the history of the office as a whole, an emphasis on the past year for sure, a picture of where we are today and where I expect we're going to go as we move forward into the future. So I really want to emphasize I do appreciate the time today. I know how busy you are, I know how hard you work, and I know how many responsibilities you have in managing the county, and I want to thank you for the partnership in serving our community. It means a lot. It means a lot to us. We work hard every day on public safety. You know, our focus is on ensuring justice is served in the community, and that sounds fairly simple, but I promise you it is not. A lot of work goes into that. There are a lot of steps. And in a few minutes, I'm going to hand it off actually to my Chief Deputy, Charles Kitt, and he's going to walk you through some of the day-to-day operations, some of the things that maybe you've never heard about before. So the idea for this presentation came from a conversation Chuck and I had, and I think in a compressed budget cycle, when we have 15 to 30 minutes to cover whatever we have going on, it's not sufficient to really give you an inside view and give you a detailed understanding of what our workflow is like and our struggles and our success. And so again, that's the point of this presentation, and I want to thank you for that time. My office exercises one of the most important powers the government holds: the power to charge, the power to offer diversion, to resolve cases, or take cases to trial. And with that authority comes a significant responsibility to use it wisely, to use sound judgment, follow the law, and make sure that the decisions we're making today serve the long-term interests of the community. So before we get into the operations and the outcomes that we've had, it's important to be clear about the standards that guide every decision we make in the office. As I said, our core mission is to do justice, to serve victims with respect and integrity, to protect public safety, to ensure fairness to defendants who are charged with criminal cases, and to make decisions that withstand scrutiny years later. And that's an important point, because in years past, there have been times, and certainly in other places around the state and the country, you hear about an outcome that occurs, but when that outcome goes up for appellate review, it does not withstand the scrutiny of the courts, because an important step was missed. And we've been very careful and very conscientious in our approach to ensure that that does not occur. Each one of these cases involves a real person, a real harm, and a real impact on public safety in the community. And that's why we don't measure success by conviction rates, although those are good, or by how fast cases move. We measure success by the lawful outcomes, the consistency day to day, and the integrity we display in the work of our office. So now to help you understand how this office actually operates day to day, how we built it back in 2017 when I took office, and what it takes to sustain the ongoing work, I am going to turn it over to my Chief Deputy, Charles Kitt, And I would like to note, and he did not know I was going to say this, Charles was recognized as the Kansas Prosecutor of the Year by the statewide prosecutors organization, which is called KCDAA. He was recognized for his outstanding trial work, his leadership within our office, and his reputation within the legal community. So I'm going to ask Kansas Prosecutor of the Year, Charles Kitt, to step forward. Thank you, Chuck.
He has to find ways to entertain himself, and he likes to do that at my expense. So to reiterate what the DA said, first of all, I want to say thank you. And I don't know that I've met you guys when I haven't been here asking for something, and we're not asking for anything today. This is just informational only and to answer questions if you have them. But one of the things I want to talk about is through what we've been able to accomplish by what the BCC has given our office over the last couple of years. I came to Topeka in 2003 for law school, and I started in the DA's office in 2005. So I've been in and around that office and our legal community for the last 20-some years. In doing so, you pick up things in the courthouse, stories of what it was like before, the golden eras, that sort of thing. And the Gino Lander administration was always talked about as the golden era of prosecution here in Shawnee County, and he was our longest serving DA, but he retired in 1991. The three administrations, we've had 4 administrations since then, the 3 before this one. And I'm not here to take shots at anybody, but just the first one, I know by reputation only, and that was, file everything you can, plea it down, don't take cases to trial, was kind of the general reputation that I heard about from defense bar, from the courts, and certainly from law enforcement partners. The first administration I worked for ended with a pretty contentious issue between the DA's office and the county over billing practices and what money was owed to which office. And it ended with a relationship that was very contentious between the DA's office and our law enforcement partners. The second administration I worked for ended in a federal employment lawsuit, and it ended with the district attorney withdrawing from a Senate race, claiming he was mentally unfit to continue in that Senate race, and the chief deputy in that administration being disbarred. So that particular administration had plenty of personnel challenges, and leadership changed about as often as the cases that we worked on in that administration. So when Mr. Kage took office in 2017, one of the biggest challenges that we faced when I joined him, and I've served as his chief of staff and or chief deputy since then, was building back the reputation of this office. The reputation amongst our peers, our legal peers, defense counsel, other prosecutors, building back our reputation with the courts, both our district court level and at the appellate court level, building back our reputation with the community and with our law enforcement partners. And that's not something that you can fix overnight. We had to make this a place that prosecutors wanted to come back to and have careers prosecuting cases. You probably hear all the time about the power of the state, the power of prosecutors, and we do have great power when we choose what charges we're going to pursue and which defendants we're going to file those charges on. But the greatest tool that a prosecutor has is discretion, the exercise of good judgment in the handling of those cases. And that's not something they teach you in law school. That's not something that you can learn overnight. That takes time to develop. It takes seeing cases, evaluating cases under good leadership to develop that discretion. So when it comes to prosecutors, what builds good prosecutors more than anything is having hardworking people that are ethical, and longevity, keeping those people in place so they can build that discretion. In the current office, we have 26 attorneys that have a combined experience of 270 years of prosecution experience or relevant legal experience. The 15 deputies, the way our staff works, we have people start as an ADA, an assistant district attorney, promote up to an assistant deputy, promote up to a deputy level, and then there's the leadership team, which would be myself, a chief deputy, our chief of legal operations, and our chief of staff, who all of us are considered senior deputies. But we have 15 people at the deputy level in our office, and of those 15, we have 226 years of either prosecution experience or directly related legal experience. So that is something that you can't accomplish without having a good place to work, a place that people want to come and work at, and without being able to offer competitive salaries, which for the first time in my career, I can say we've established competitive salaries. We're not losing people to other government agencies just because we pay the worst. So that's a big thank you to this group for allowing us to have that. And what does that get you? It's nice to say we have good experience, we have good leadership, and we have people in longevity here, but what does that get you? The cases that people hear about every day are the worst of the worst. Those are the things that make headlines, unfortunately. Those are what we consider our major cases. That would be your most violent offenders, whether they be homicides or sex offenses, crimes against children, that sort of thing. We have created a major felony unit, excuse me, that I oversee, and that major felony unit consists of me and 4 other of our most senior prosecutors that handle those cases. Just in the last 2 years since we've been able to create that, we finally got the longevity and the experience level that we could create that team. We have tried in 2024, we had 53 jury trials, or excuse me, 53 of those cases resulted during the year 2024 with guilty pleas or verdicts. 24 were jury trials, and all 24 of those jury trials from that team resulted in guilty verdicts. In 2025, we resulted 51 cases from that team. 14 of those went to jury trial, 13 were guilty verdicts, and 1 was a hung jury that had to be retried later. So just in the 2 years that this unit has been functioning, there's been 38 trials, 37 convictions, and the other one's waiting on a retrial. So what the experience gets us can be measured in the results that we're obtaining. On top of that, we have, just to tell you about the day-to-day workload of our office, at any given time we have approximately over 3,000 cases pending. The last measurement we had as of February 1, 3,251 criminal cases pending. Now, this doesn't count the other things that our office does, traffic cases, civil cases, appeals, asset forfeiture, core and coma, child in need of care, mental illness or care and treatment cases. I'm only talking about the criminal cases right now. And there was 3,251 cases open on February 1st. And that work is divided amongst the 26 attorneys. So to break that down even further, once you take out those that work in the other fields that are not criminal cases, our major case squad, we carry about 30 open cases at any given time, each attorney. So that's 30 the worst of the worst cases at any given time. Our general felony attorneys carry about 200 cases at any given time. So they may resolve one, but they're getting another one filed that same day. Our misdemeanor attorneys carry about 500 cases per attorney. Our juvenile, about 500 cases per attorney in our juvenile world. So the caseloads that we carry in our office are extraordinarily high. On the other side of the fence, if you go to the public defender's office or BIDS has also the conflicts office, and then Tenneper and Herter is the overflow. When they reach what they believe their capacity is, they simply close. They stop accepting cases. We don't have that luxury. If the case warrants criminal charges being filed, we have a statutory obligation to do it. So these caseloads are not ideal. They're higher than what I would want them to be to send our prosecutors upstairs to prosecute cases. But that's what the job demands. And we have hired through the years people from other government agencies, even from within the county itself. But we hire attorneys, we hire support staff from many different government agencies, and we hire people from the private sector. And probably the biggest reason we lose people, why we have quick turnover, is the demands of the job, the stress of the job. I've had people come in from the court clerk's office and work in our office for 2 weeks and say, I can't do this. I didn't realize how much work you guys put on your support staff, and go back to the clerk's office. I had someone come from dispatch into our office and didn't make it a day because they didn't realize how much work goes through our office on a daily basis. We have attorneys coming from other government agencies that don't make it a year in our office because of the demands of our office. And it's not just workload, but it's the type of work that we do. It's extremely stressful. The burden's always on us. We always have to be the ones doing the right thing, and we always have to be the ones that are prepared to move cases forward. So the work never ends. So finding the right people to work in our office is extremely difficult, and then having the ability to keep those individuals long-term to where we develop that discretion is very difficult. And I'm happy to say that I believe, just in my 20 years experience, that we've entered the second golden age of the district attorney's office. I feel that our office does have a good reputation with defense counsel. I feel that our office has a good reputation with law enforcement, with the courts, and I believe that that is directly measured in the success that we're having and the way that we conduct business. The biggest challenge, and I've talked about this a little bit, is definitely personnel, but a couple of other things I want to highlight. Because of the type of personnel we've been able to recruit and retain in our office, we've been able to overcome several obstacles that are really unprecedented in the legal practice. And I want to go through just a couple of those. Obviously, the first being COVID. Everybody understands COVID. Everybody had to go through COVID. We lost about half of our staff during the COVID years just because people wanted work from home jobs. That was a national trend that we saw. So we lost a lot of people to that trend. People, work-life balances began shifting in both the government world and in the private sector. And in the DA's office, we don't get the luxury of a work-life balance. We have to be in the office at 8. We have to stay in the office till 5 because that's the hours the court works, and our work has to be done. There are occasions where we can have people working remotely, but we have to be there and we have to be ready and prepared. And so it was difficult retaining people there, but because of the leadership we had in the office, we were able to get through COVID. For the most part unscathed. We still got the trial results that we were looking for. Our results have still been upheld on appeal. And we've been able to maintain just the day-to-day working progress of our office even through that challenge. The court went through what was publicly called a security incident, where the court's filing system, their case management system, was basically offline for several months. During that time period, some jurisdictions basically shut down. Ours didn't. They just relied on the DA's office. So we basically acted as the records custodian during that time period. When the court needed something, they came to us. And we were able to weather that storm. One of our major law enforcement partners, recently we had to go through an audit of thousands and thousands of their cases because we had a discovery issue that we discovered based on the way they were maintaining their digital evidence, and we had to audit all of their cases for the last 10 years and go through there and find, I think we found nearly 800 cases where they had digital evidence that hadn't been turned over to our office. And we had to audit every one of those and notify defense counsel on past cases and get them that information and deal with the aftermath of that. And we were able to do that. And we were able to do that without interrupting the day-to-day work of our office or while maintaining the integrity of all of those investigations and that prosecution. We've had a couple of other issues in our office that they're probably normal for most offices that hit these occasionally, but I was before this body a few years ago because our case management system, we received an end-of-life letter. And so basically our entire case management system, the nerve center of our office, was being taken offline and we didn't have support for it anymore. So we had to work with the developer to come up with a new case management system, get that implemented, get all of our data converted over to it, and then get all of our staff trained on it. And we did that all within about a 6-month period. And through that entire process, we were able to, again, continue the operations of the office and protect the integrity of everything that we were doing. And then the last thing that I want to talk about, again, I was before this body more recently asking for, or informing this body that we were going to seek a long-term contract with a digital evidence storage company, evidence.com, for Axon issues. And we've been able to convert all of our digital evidence over to Axon, evidence.com. We've been able to pair that up seamlessly with law enforcement and hopefully improve the discovery process for defense attorneys as well as what we're doing in our office. I've told this body before, prosecution is harder now than it's ever been because of the volume of evidence. 20 years ago, an investigation was a couple of pages of reports and possibly a dash cam video. Now, the simplest of investigations is several different reports from different people and hours and hours and hours of body camera videos that our prosecutors are required to go through all of that. So just the time commitment in prosecution is more difficult than it's ever been. And we've been able to keep up with that pace seamlessly. And again, that all goes back to the capability and the professionalism of the people we've been able to recruit and retain in our office. So those are the highlights that I wanted to hit for this group, and again say thank you, and I just wanted to give you a report on what you're getting from us.
Yes, Mr. Kitt, thank you very much, and congratulations on your new title. It speaks volumes about your work ethics and your caseload and your.
Thank you, I appreciate that, but
everything.
It's not a new title, it's just temporary, and it's awful.
As you can probably tell in hearing from Chuck, he's a subject matter expert. He works very hard, but he struggles to receive recognition. So that's why I torture him like this. So we've been talking to you for about 25 minutes now. Are there any questions so far? I imagine you have some.
I don't.
I'll jump in. Mr. District Attorney, how do we stand on catching up from our COVID case backlog that we had? I mean, are we on top of things? Are we pretty close to being on top of things? I mean, there for a while, we really got hit hard with court shutdowns and everything else, and it created quite a pressure on your office.
Yes, Commissioner Cook, thank you for the question. So there were a couple factors at play there during COVID. One was the court shut down, and then when the court reopened, we didn't have jury trials for 18 months. And when we looked at our resolution rate in a typical year, it's 95%. 95% of cases resolved by way of plea agreement, the other 5% go to trial. And in the immediate aftermath after COVID, because there were no trials, that resolution rate dropped down to 54%. So there were two backlogs created. There was a backlog created within the litigation trial system, and there was also a backlog from cases that were not being charged because the work was being delayed at that time. Other problems like the KBI, their drug lab and their testing capabilities have never caught up since COVID. And so we have D5 simple possession cases that are still pending. We have distribution cases that are pending months after the arrest, and they've been submitted over there, and we're very limited in our ability to do anything to accelerate that. We work with them. We work with all our partners to try and find efficiencies there. If it's a major felony type case, we'll pay the Johnson County Crime Lab to do the testing, but that's an additional cost that we're not billed for. So to answer your question, the backlog from COVID, I think, has substantially diminished, and you could also say it's gone. However, anytime we have attorney vacancies, we have to pull from our charging unit to cover the work that's going to court. And when that happens, that creates new backlogs. So I can't stand here today and tell you we're fully caught up just because of the KBI issue and because of the attorney vacancy issue. But we work hard every day to get to that point, and that is the goal. And I'm confident we will get there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mike, of course, we hear a lot about ICE nowadays. Do you have any interaction with ICE in some of your court cases?
I have not seen or heard anything from ICE for a very long time. And I think going back to 2014, I did a trial on a member of a Mexican street gang who did not have legal status to be here. And he had been charged, and ultimately I convicted him at trial of distribution. He was a drug dealer. And I remember an ICE agent being present at the sentencing, and he asked me if this guy was going to go to prison. And I said, well, yeah, that's the plan. And I said, are you guys going to take him after that? And he said, yeah, probably. I can just tell you, I looked back a few years ago, and that defendant had served his time and been released from El Dorado. ICE never came and took him. And this was someone who had a violent criminal history, was dealing drugs in our community, and was ultimately released. So I know there's a national conversation about ICE. I know things have certainly changed since that time, but that's the last contact I had with anyone from that agency.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. If there are no further questions, I'll just thank you again for the time, and a couple closing notes to share. Chuck talked about the internal processes, things we have going on inside the office, but because of the hard work we've done in restoring the reputation of the office, we now find ourselves in a position to exert more influence outside the office with our law enforcement partners. And that comes in the form of our 24/7 on-call program, where we partner with them in the early stages of all these major case investigations. But it also extends to things like going over to the legislature and helping our representatives and senators over there understand the realities of what we see day to day. And I'm happy to tell you that last year I was an important part of supporting a bill that made what we call CSAM, which is child sexual abuse material, illegal through AI generation. And you would think that's pretty common sense, right? No, nobody wants that to be a reality, but there was resistance to it, surprisingly. But that law passed, and then just, I think last week, the governor signed a new bundle, and in that bundle was a law that I had first written in 2021 and brought back again last year, and it makes people buying sex eligible to be charged with a felony on that first offense. And this is going to work to reduce demand within the sex trafficking marketplace. And this year we are supporting legislation, again, that I wrote that focuses on repeat felon offenders and creating accountability where the system currently has gaps. So we're doing things like that as well to serve public safety interests in our community, but also throughout the state. And we have spent a lot of time trying to do more community engagement, and we have a lot more work to do there. But we had our first Citizens Academy last year. It was a big success. We're running taking applications for our second one right now, and our applications have more than doubled so far. So we're excited about that. We work with our NIAs. We work with downtown Topeka. We volunteer for Meals on Wheels and Boys and Girls Club, and we work with Special Olympics as well. So we're trying to be good community partners, and we want to be good partners with you. We know how hard you work. Again, we appreciate all the time and the support you've given us over the years. And thanks again for your time this morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next thing on our agenda is public comment. No one has signed up, and I don't see anyone here. So move on to the next item, administrative communications. Mr. Mays?
Nothing from me today.
All right. It's kind of a dud Super Bowl in some ways, till the fourth quarter. That's it. We do not have a need for executive session today, so we are adjourned.